Hey guys, this is Toxicity. It's been a while. It's been a really, really long time. Have some interesting things have gone on the last few months. I fell into a relapse. For those of you who don't know, I suffer from bipolar 2 disorder, um, anxiety, like severe anxiety, steers into panic attacks, C-PTSD, hypersexuality disorder, insomnia, all the good stuff, all the things that makes our personality pop, snapple, wait, snap, crackle, pop, snap, crackle, pop. Wow, I just told you my age with that, but anyway, is it just me, or has anybody been ID'd, and the minute you're like 19, they're just like, we're good, like we're good. Um, for those of you guys who know me, I am always with my nails and all that stuff. And in order to be completely naked and be able to assist myself in this journey of healing, but more so stabilization, right? And stabilizing my bipolar disorder. I was pretty stable for a while up until about February or March of 2021. Um, yeah, that's a whole other chronicle we're gonna go into. Another little post, another little vlog, or whatever you want to call it. What the heck is this thing? Is this called vlog? Is this what it is? I'm 39, guys. I'm still learning. My dreams was to be a talk show host, or be on the radio. But in 2021, it's podcast and it's social media. I still have this huge dream of being on the radio or having this talk show. Even though I don't think that talk shows is what's in. So through my anxiety disorder, like right now, my heart is like, ooh. You notice I'm taking like um, little deep breaths because this is such a huge deal. Like what I really want to do is kind of burst into tears from the anxiety that I feel crawling on my skin. So this is huge. When we do these things, we're basically putting ourselves out there. Is that my? Oh, that's the freaking. I thought that was like the fly trap, but it's the moth thingy. What the hell is that? I don't even know what the heck I was saying. That's the beauty of ADHD. It's like you just saw it there. What was I just saying? I'll get back to it in a few. Let's go to 5 other stories and then we'll come back to that, which is just how our lives are for those people who suffer from ADD, right? As an adult, it's really ADD. Um, at least I read that a long time ago that once you become an adult, it's no longer ADHD. It's now ADD, even though we always read all adult ADHD. So whatever. What the hell was I talking about? So, in becoming naked with you guys, I look crazy. But I can't come on all the time with makeup because I don't feel that I'm being real in my feels. Um, so this is really how I am when I'm just lounging around the house. And I'm like that perfect meme that is like glam the freak up when it's time to step out the house and basically look like a homeless bum when I'm home. That's that's really like I love to go to the store in my robe. Oh my god, their freedom. Half the time I barely have clothes on. It's a robe. I'm a good chancletas. Let's go. You know, sunglasses. Hater blockers. Put them on. Stay out of my face. Um. So the more God has pushed me to like my calling, um, the more my anxiety built because for 37 years of my life, I've held so many secrets. right? So many secrets that you're kind of forced to keep as a child, right? You grow up, it's like a cult, you know. That's the best way I can describe it, when you have a family of secrets, just this huge family, and they're just caught up with secrets. And, you train from a young child to keep secrets. It's funny because I trained my children that they can tell me any secret, that, you don't keep secrets from mom. And you have your own rights to your privacy. However, I kind of explained to them what I meant when I said those things. Um, yeah. I'm not really sure why my boyfriend left this mug here, because it's supposed to be in his house, but I guess I'm using it now. However, um, this is kind of the beginning of finally telling my truth. I have a really interesting story. I have a podcast, Topsy, Where Do I Start? You guys can find me on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, Google Podcasts, and iHeart. And Radio Cast. So on my Anchor, you'll see 6 different platforms, but I also have iHeart as well. So that makes it 7 platforms. So I'm blessed to that. And, COVID hit. That's that too right there. So COVID hit. And I remember when COVID hit, I thought it was the best thing in the world. I thought it was the best thing in the world. I was like, ugh. When you have this ability, thank you to my homeboy Ralph, when you have a disability, not a disability, right? So many of us like brand ourselves with this disability, and it's normal. We say it, and it's okay to say it in proper terms when we're speaking, but also reminding that individual as well as yourself that it's not really a disability. It is a this ability, right? Because we do have other abilities that are amazing. At least I can speak for myself. And I know that so many people can relate. So many people can relate, just the mere fact that I'm talking about this, all in one. While everyone else is probably confused, my fellow mental warriors, my fellow bombers, whether you're a Bronx bomber, Texas bomber, Alabama bomber, Connecticut bomber, I'm a Bronx bomber. So when I created my show, I wanted everyone to feel personal to me. And bombers, you guys are my bombers. So whatever state you're in, because not everybody's from the Bronx. So that's the thing, that when I say my bombers, I mean my fans, my followers, my people. Whether you have a where you have a disability or not, you guys are my bombers because you follow me or support me, or financially donate to my podcast or to my YouTube channel. Anybody that supports me in my cause, to want to not only heal for me, heal from my past, but hopefully someone's watching that needs to hear these messages, and they can try to heal, find the strength to heal or to speak up faster, right? I don't want someone else to go 37 years with a secret, with secrets, no matter what they are, whether you were the abuser, whether you abused. Sometimes people who abuse other people obviously were abused, most likely, or, whatever that story may be. Everyone has a story. Obviously, most of us I'm speaking to are abused people. People that haven't gone through abuse and were born with the disability, right? We're born genetically with a disability, or due to a traumatic experience, they now have these conditions. I guess it is time for me to be a part of the movement of destigmatizing mental health. And it is hard because once we start talking, we feel liberated and we feel free. And then you start cutting people off. You start setting these boundaries. You start learning what boundaries are. And you start realizing, wow, the best way to survive is through boundaries. I have to set boundaries. That's going to protect me. In setting those boundaries, I disconnected a lot of people, separated a lot of people. Every friends I had, every single friends I had, I made a list. Pros and cons. You can have many pros, but if your cons triggered my bipolar, I put a distance between you and I even allowed them to think what they wanted because there was a point in my life where I was intelligently more, emotionally more intelligent, and able to handle my emotions. I was able to allow people to speak, active listen, learn what the meaning of perception is, learn to respect people's differences of opinions, learn that not everybody's a piece of crap and some people are just meant for each other and some are not. And learning to be able to walk away from those situations. During quarantine, I was spiraled into this isolation that initially was this really cool, hyper experience. Just like, oh my God, I get to. And I noticed early on that the mechanics in my body, my brain was kind of changing a little bit. Almost going back to the way it was when I had lost my father in 2016, but a little bit more aggressive. When my dad died, I was in a complete mania, you know. Uh, no one saw it. I was dying on the inside, but I was excited, jumping up and down the roof, acting like certain things didn't really bother me. But I was more angry, so I would snap much more faster. I would not recommend you to start a problem with me because I'm gonna finish it. And it didn't matter where I was at, church. It didn't matter where I was at. I'm gonna need you to respect me, point blank, period. So with a person like myself, because I'm so aware of my emotions and I know that my abruptness, my honesty, the level of integrity that I have is pretty brutal and always honest. I notice that people just can't handle my honesty. I don't have the ability to lie or to, I just don't. I noticed that for me, it was easier to isolate myself because even those people that I really thought were my friends and I would be very supportive, like with their businesses and it's simple stuff, just like, subscribe and share, not wanting to take my business elsewhere. And if I have friends that had a similar business that could help me within my business, I go to them before I go to anybody else. Um, and I just started to notice that the support that I would provide certain people that were in my life, I wasn't really receiving it back at a time and a moment in my life where I really needed it. And since I didn't know how to ask and say, hey, I need your help. I'm depressed. I'm sad. I'm having these really crazy thoughts that I just don't understand. I didn't reach out, but no one else reached out to me, even though they saw that something wasn't right. They saw that I was becoming more distant. It was almost like if the message was, it was okay to lose me as a friend, as a family member. It was real difficult because I love so hard. Like I love so physically hard, um, that it was just really difficult to accept seeing friends that you've been so supported over and like always there when they needed you or always volunteer to go and take care of business or even when it came to their children, just be there, whether emotionally or get from my car about to go fight somebody, not really fight, but go, go listen, just do what we had to do. And not telling you that it was the right choices. I'm just saying that I was just that friend. And I would notice that I was always trying, I didn't know that I was trying to be accepted, but I guess that's what it was. Just not being rejected. I wanted to be rejected or abandoned, so to speak. Again, I've had many friends in the past who would be friends with me and then would stop being my friend when they get in other relationships. And then they'll come back to me and be like, oh, I was just so busy. 2 years busy. And then they found somebody else and then they go away. And then 2 years later come back and then they finally disappear. And then you wonder, like, what did I do? And then you realize the only real thing that I've ever done was just always be too honest. And it was really isolating because I realized that people rather hear lies than hear honesty. And I didn't understand that. I just did not understand that on any level. So it isolated me. And I found through my old job some sort of meaning when I went to work. Management also assisted me in keeping me together, so to speak, because again, I have a mental condition. So once I was able to be honest with work and all those things was happening, got FMLA, got all those stuff, my management assisted in making sure that, I submitted things right and I kept that job. Things kind of went left when management switched over. And I always had that gut feeling, and like, when you have that gut feeling of stuff, that this was not going to probably go well in the future. And it didn't. What people don't know is that in the year 2020, my mental disorder depleted drastically. My job was the worst in supporting me. My manager, my supervisor, they'll claim they did. I screenshot all our conversations, recorded all our conversations to the point where I thought of an attorney, went to an attorney and said, you might actually have something here with all this proof and text messages and emails that you've saved. Like, nobody really does this. But in my gut, I always felt like something can go wrong. I would literally, with my FMLA stated that I needed to take more time on my calls, more than the regular agent. I needed to take frequent breaks. None of those things were accomplished. They wouldn't give me the ADA. There was just so many different things. And I don't know. For the first time, I didn't fight for my own rights. I was just like, I felt beat up. And then I was going through this severe mental breakdown because I finally had cut off one of the most toxic relationships that I have had in about 7 to 8 years. Even though me and my ex had dated for a certain amount of years, we had this on and off thing totaling up to 7 to 8 years on and off since my father had passed away. And I remember saying to myself, I had just started my credit business and I thought that I can do this business. I thought that I can do this business. This is what I need. I needed the money. And, they were supportive, so to speak. But there's different trainers. And the person I went on there was a really good friend of mine. She was awesome. But the person over her, still a great person, don't get me wrong, didn't know how to handle a person like me. Didn't know how to handle a person. She was strong and so was I. And I remember the very first time I had pinned a client, she forgot the timing and I lost that bid. That was discouraging. And because they looked at me as a regular person, sometimes they're just like, why are you not doing this all day? Why are you? And it's just, I couldn't explain how difficult it actually was to get on the phone. Simple. Just get on the phone. It's really simple. Just get on the phone. Hi, this is Topsy BX. How are you? Yeah. So you want to know about your credit, blah, blah, blah. Bring it out. It's really simple. FaceTime them. It's really simple. You got your script. You believe in the product is helping you. It's what it is. We live by our motto. We're a debt-free company. I got, proof. Look at the statistics, look at the reviews, look at the people we've helped. I mean, the company spoke for itself. I just didn't like sometimes how she rushed it. I didn't like how quick she was with me. I didn't like how she expected me to. And then when I would talk about, well, I missed this week because, I wasn't feeling well, I started to realize, how is this going to work if they don't understand that my sickness is not something that is going to go away? And I am a Christian, and I'm not your typical Christian. Listen, I'm going to get hate no matter what I say. And that's okay. Because a real Christian, a real person of God loves everyone. No judging. Accept all. I don't have a private group on Facebook talking about people who are gay or love Allah or... What kind of Christians are you? I don't make no sense. How do you talk about people? These people, they're all from hell. No, you guys sound like you're going to hell because you talk about people the way you do, and you're supposed to be Christian. Right? So I'm not your typical Christian. I love everybody. I accept everybody. Okay? Everybody. Yeah? Non-binary. He, she, them, her. Transgendered. Heterosexuals. Homes. Everyone. Black, white. All cultures. I love accents. Oh my God. I love accents. Since a little girl, I've always wondered what made you feel what you feel, right? So what made you laugh? What made you guys cry? Why were you so happy? Why was your smile different than mine? How did you find joy in it? Where did the joy come from? Did you create your joy? Was your joy given to you? Was joy superficial? Meaning, was my joy really your joy? Right? If it doesn't apply, let it fly, right? Right? I always was interested in people, but I was scared of people because people were the ones who were hurting me when I was young. And it wasn't just any people. It was my people. It's my family. My blood. So starting this channel is going to be the beginning of Topsy BX finally healing. The journey to her book, to the autobiography, to the workbook, to the podcast, to interviewing people. Well, everybody wants to interview people that have a name. I want to interview my misfits. No offense. That's actually a compliment in my eyes. That's what they call us, but we take that word as if it's negative. You guys are my misfits. My bombers. We matter. Your story matters. The purpose of my podcast is having people message me about their story. Me conducting interviews with these people. So Sarah or Bob or Michael, Quentin, anybody. It doesn't matter. Anybody's story. I want to be able to put a face to these people's story. Sorry, I don't want to get emotional. So many people kill themselves on a daily basis because they're afraid to speak up. And in my mind, I'm like, well, if I can just find the courage to be someone's voice and tell their story, whether anonymously, in the public eye, and what I mean by that means tell their story, they're okay with their name, They want to do an interview, or they still want to do an interview on a podcast. We change the names and you tell your story. I want to give you guys a voice. I want to give that little boy out there who was raped, that he doesn't have a voice because men are not allowed to speak about that type of abuse. I want to give him a voice. I want to give a voice to my friend who was abused and no one listened to him. And I want to be there for his son's generation. And I want to create a not-for-profit where teenagers can call in, where homeless teenagers can call in and find resources. Because I was homeless and I didn't have resources. I didn't have a place to live. I didn't have a place to go. I was scared of my family, so I didn't feel safe there. So I went with my kid's father. We were both homeless because his sister kicked us out the house because he was with me. Well, she didn't allow us to stay initially because he was with me. So she figured she allowed us in the street homeless and she stole his checks that maybe, just maybe, he'll leave me because he's desperate and he's going to go and tell Gabe back to her. But instead, we're still strong together. Very toxic, very abusive relationship, mentally, emotionally, physically. It's just so many things that I want to accomplish. And I can't do it alone. This is coming from a girl who has been doing it alone since she was 14 years old. To say that I can't do it alone, that's a big step. That's a big step. Because I'm asking for help from my viewers to support the cause, to destigmatize mental health, to make it comfortable and a safe place for a teenage man, young man, for a little boy to seek help for sexual abuse. For when a girl or a woman is abused, that there's help for her. That we strengthen the system when it comes to domestic violence, to severe child abuse and neglect. If we can step in early enough, we can help so many families. We can probably minimize so many defiant disorders and mood disorders that exist due to someone's upbringing, due to someone's trauma. Remembering, people, that not everyone has trauma. So I guess I'm vlogging my journal. And with the knowledge that people are now going to know my story. That my grandmother can't tell me that it's a secret, can't say nothing. That the excuse that we're going to give grandma a heart attack is not there. I can talk. I can be, and I don't care who believes me. Because I know that my family knows the deal. That they're in denial, that's one thing. But wouldn't you be in denial of half of your cousins? And not all of them. I have a lot of family. I don't want to say half. I want to be nice. Because many of them have not been honest. Many of them still hide the secret. They're not proud enough to speak about what they've been through. There's nothing to be ashamed about. You was abused. You were the rape victim. You was the abuse victim. It was you. It was called incest. Yeah, it's called incest. That's what it is. That's what it is, guys. It's called incest. I remember when I first realized I was growing up in an incest environment. And nobody helped. There was nobody there to help us. Even with women in the family that have been molested and raped before us. And the rumors that we were being touched or complaining about it, everybody act as if they don't know what we were talking about, as if it didn't exist. I have a cousin that still, I heard today, as an adult, has intercourse with one of my uncles that raped me. That raped my sister many times. My little sister. Many times. Which is part of the reason why I'm here. Because I am not going to allow the things that happened to my baby sister be okay anymore. I mean, who else is going to be the voice? Who else is going to be a voice for boys and girls to get abused and raped and incest? That you know that statistic-wise, the abuser is in the home. Statistic-wise, the abuser is someone you know. Yeah. Statistic-wise, the family knows as well. Someone knows. Yeah. And they just let it happen. And they call you crazy. Oh, she's crazy. Oh, she's crazy. But they're really the crazy ones because they allowed children to get finger popped, to get raped. They actually allow these men, to put their penises in little girls or boys. And they were able to sleep at night. I don't know what the fear was. Guess the only fear was to be disliked by the family. Guess that was more important than saving someone's life, guys. So shame on you. Now it's my turn. Now it's my turn. I don't think you guys understand. These men, well, one of my rapists has children. And God gave him a daughter. 2 daughters. And one day, my cousin asked me on Messenger if what I had stated was true about my uncle. And it took me a while to answer her, but when I did, she didn't respond back to me. And those things are hard because it's like, what did I do? What is it that I did that makes her not want to communicate with me? Because my job was to answer you because you have a little girl. I loved you enough to tell you the truth. Finally. And your mother knows. Your mother knows that he's nuts. That's why she left. Because she too was abused physically. And God knows what my aunt went through while being with him. Because I know what my other aunts went through being with him. He's a monster. And one day we will talk specifically about each abuser. Obviously, I won't say their legal names. Because what matters to me is that my family knows who they are. And the secret's out the bag. And they can make their own judgment. Not that I care. If it applies, let it fly. If it doesn't apply, hold on. If it doesn't apply, let it fly. Real simple. Is that my phone? Give me 1 second, guys. To make sure that wasn't my so-curious. We're tight like that. So anyway, I already kind of feel good talking on this. And I'm not talking to anybody. I think that if you suffer from a mental disorder, you can relate to what it is to kind of think out loud and talk out loud. And being around other humans, it doesn't work out. Because they don't dig deep, they don't talk deep, they're uncomfortable with their emotions. Or they got your back until they're the problem, right? Or there's excuses. So while we work so hard to minimize those excuses because of society, right, and what they think about us, so we got to work that much harder. I don't have patience for people that give me excuses. I mean, I have left relationships because of it. And in this state of mind, it's very difficult to hold on a relationship. I stabilized for a very long time and then, met my boyfriend. And that started triggers that I wasn't feeling for a while. Because there's expectations, right? And even though you tell these people, hey, you're not ready for this, you're not mentally capable of dealing with someone with my condition, right? A person needs to be able to educate themselves, be consistent, get into therapy, especially if a person has their own issues. You should never want a person with a mental disability to take on your issues. So, especially if I don't give you my issues. So, if a person with the mental illness takes on those issues, especially myself, that I'm a natural empath, as you can see, I love helping people. It comes to me 100% natural. I can feel your energy before you walk into the room. I am a human profiler. I am a human lie detector test. I will solve the murder before you solve the murder. I promise you. Um, so you have to be able to have your own support system. And you need to learn how not to trigger. And how dumb it is to ask a person, how do I not trigger you? And then to respond to that, and then to still be doing it, or to not take it upon yourself to figure out the resources to get yourself where you need to go, right? The person with the mental illness already has enough on their plate, right? So you want it, if you ever, this is to everybody out there, if you ever are in a place where you're stabilized and you're open to being in a relationship, make sure that that other individual has met your expectations. And I know it sounds weird with all expectations. Listen, this is a different type of conversation. Okay. Um, Once you've taken time to yourself, discovered your negative toxic patterns, set your boundaries and be consistent and not allow nobody to violate those boundaries. And the only way to be successful in this is time to self. If you have not had time to self and gone through the stage of severe negative lonely that finally turns into a positive lonely, then you are not there yet. Because in that time where you fall into this depression, right, and you're battling your symptoms, eventually the stronger you get, the more you fight and fight, right? What do I say? How does your fight look? Right? My fight looks like this. Talking to God, screaming at God, writing, podcasting, talking to myself, putting the mirror in front of me, talking to myself, recording it. Whatever's going to make me feel like it's out, it's in the open, right? That's how my fight looks to battle, right? And to battle my suicide ideations and holding on to the sounds of my kids' voices. Like, no, 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 this is you. When Erica, which is, remember, Erica's my mania and my depression. When Erica's like, oh, you're a burden. Oh, it's better if you're not here. Mary Lou's like, 5 minutes, girl. There's a voice. Mary Lou is in my subconscious. I always tell my kids, don't think with your conscious mind, think with your subconscious mind. It's a reason why I say that. Think with your subconscious mind. Don't think with your mind. Okay? Think with your subconscious mind. Be of subconscious mind. Okay? And I listen to that voice, and she's like, This is Erica. This is her being nasty, honey. This is not you. This is not disorder. So I'm able to recognize, oh, this is an episode. This is disorder. I was able to recognize my triggers, learn your triggers. If you guys are not honestly ready, and how does that look for you? So in my opinion, you should have long-term therapy already. You should be in that therapy, at least in therapy. Whether that's hypnosis. Listen, I'm not for or against anything. I'm just, again, being unbiased and wanting everyone to see how open I am to everybody's different cultures and differences, okay? So whether it's hypnosis, EDMR, regular psychiatric, psychotherapy, regular therapy, counseling, whatever works for you, group therapy, CBT, DBT, whatever works for you, right? How does your healing / stability look for you? When you're finally able to take time to self for a long period of time, you find your peace. And you realize that that's what you've been looking for this entire time. Peace, where you can hear your thoughts. And you can actually just dissect what are the patterns that you are doing wrong to connect the people that need fixing to you. What is it that you are doing to attract that? Are you healed from your past though? Because you keep attracting that, you know? You need time to yourself. And when you realize that maybe you're able. I say it like that because relationships are so sticky. If you're like me, you are afraid of the consequences of that euphoria experience. You feel me? If it doesn't apply, let it fly. I am scared of the consequences of the euphoria within a relationship. What happens when they break a promise? What happens when they kind of embellish things, exaggerate, or fail to say something to you? You know, trying to understand the possibility that that person really generally just forgot the main science of whatever it may be. And trying to figure out how much more do you give? How much more of yourself do you give before you remove yourself completely? Right? Um, I've learned to not go past second chances. So if we're at the second chance, I'm the kind of person that is going to now start detaching myself, kind of moving back. I'm not going to provide opinions, thoughts, or nothing. I feel like everything that I said that needed to be said was said. I feel when I stated those things, we agreed, we acknowledged. Whatever you told me, I agreed, I acknowledged. So we're not kids. I'm not your parent. You're not mine. There will be no repeating. When you clock into work, you're not repeated what to do. You do what you're supposed to do and you just do it. You get paid for it. So you're getting paid with and love, right? And respect and attention and listening and making you feel like a human. So if that is not provided back to me versus what that individual thinks what I need. Now, if a person thinks they know you, then that makes more sense when they do things that they're not supposed to be doing. It doesn't take it away. It goes against them no matter what. When people think they know you, and they will verbalize it. People that are kind of self-entitled, cocky, they really think they know it all. They know everybody. And when people think about me, they know me as a know-it-all. But it's not that. It's just I research a lot. I read a lot. I am constantly out there reading things. So because when I was a kid, I considered myself stupid and I didn't know I had a learning disability. As an adult, I do everything in my power that when I talk, if I'm talking, corporate meetings or whatever, I have knowledge of that product. I know what I'm talking about. I am open to the bigger possibilities and options. I'm not one-sided. I'm not. And I will not ever have a conversation with you telling you, oh yeah, I don't do that. And then you're going to tell me, oh yeah, I do because I like, and then be like, well, yeah, I like to do that because yeah. No, I'm not a follower. I have my own opinions. I have my own thoughts and I can respectfully convey that. It's been a long time since I've been around a set of people that we can have really good, intensive, intellectual conversations and it feels genuine and real. And it doesn't feel like they're being coerced, intimidated, or they have to agree. And I haven't had a conversation like that in about a year. I miss that. And I do have that more with strangers than I do with people that I know. And so doing this gives me that connection to put a story to Betty, to put a story to John. I want to give a voice to everyone who has a story. You guys can find me on Facebook. Again, my group is Top CBX. Where do I start? And you can send me your questions. Or you guys can go ahead and my Instagram, right? Again, Topsy. Where do I start? Send me a message there. You go on my TikTok. I gotta really get, my anxiety doesn't allow me to do the funny crap that I want to do on TikTok, because when I tell you, I've done so many challenges in this room. They're so good. I just can't post them. It's the anxiety. It's okay. I'm going to get better with that. We're going to all help each other get better with that. So, when you're ready to be in a relationship, and you know that you are, your therapist agrees that you are, as a person with a mental health disorder, this is my opinion and my advice. If a person that you're dating is not open to therapy, I would steer away from that. If the person that you're dating and it becomes official, you should make it a requirement in order to have a healthy relationship that there is at least monthly therapy sessions, either together or apart, for that person, because you should already be at least in therapy, right, guys? Someone to talk to at least. So, and that should be like an obligation, because it helps you, the patient, the person with the disability, okay? The person with that disability, okay? So you want to make sure that you're building a strong foundation, because what happens when they don't? I hate it when people say, I'm going to do this, and they don't do this. Biggest pet peeve is people just don't know me. If you break a promise, if you don't follow through, I swear on everything, you must not want to be in my life. That's family, friends, or foe. Because the trust is gone. Okay, it's all about trust and loyalty with me, keeping your word, right? And strengthening your skills and being able to balance it well. And if you notice that you can't, you need a doctor probably to help you out, figure out what's going on. You might be ADHD, you might be bipolar, you might be something is not right. Right? Something's not right. Right? You might just need assistance to figure it out. We can't be your therapist, guys. We need a therapist. We talking to ourselves all day. And then we're there when someone is about to fall off the bridge. We're the first ones there to make sure we pull them up. It is mentally and physically exhausting. So I suggest to stay away from relationships unless you know for a fact that your partner, he or she, is 100% supportive to the point that they're not asking to schedule your therapy. They're scheduling their therapy and your therapy. They're scheduling their therapy. They're talking about it on a weekly basis. They're excited to tell you what they learned, right? And if you're going through your work therapy, those EAP programs or whatever, come on, guys. Come on, guys. That's great because it's there if you need it. And please obtain those services. But if you're giving just sessions, like 4 sessions, 6 sessions, 8 sessions, the first 2 is like an interview. We all know that. First 2 is like an interview. You feel like don't belong there. You're being questioned like a police officer, like a job interview. It doesn't feel normal, doesn't feel. So if you got 6 sessions, and that means you only got 4 sessions to talk about whatever it is, and then you stop because you don't continue. Now, if you go through your insurance company, it's a continuation for the rest of your freaking life, so long as you're in therapy. And I love it when they say it's too expensive. What are you talking about? What? But let them. People forget that I am literally I am in the medical field. I've been in it for 13, 14 years, going on 15 years. I am the medical field. From the medical assistant, administrative assistant, PT coordinator, front desk operator, front desk switchboard, literally to medical insurance. Now I'm getting my license for my life to sell life insurance, and etc. and all that stuff. I know what I'm talking about. Just a little bit. So I love it when people, it's so expensive. I let them. Because they're about to lose you. They're about to lose you. Because there's no more chances. Keep on with your excuses. Sometimes people have a problem and it's easier for them to clutch onto you. Oh, she's crazy. She's the one with the problem. But if we don't heal ourselves, we keep on attracting that. Because it seems so nice in the beginning. You don't even realize you're walking into toxicity. You let the first red flag, you even think this is a red flag and I'm not ignoring it. And then the same exact problem you knew was going to happen is exactly what happens at the end, or months in the relationship, a year in the relationship. And you don't got nobody to blame but yourself. Everything you said was going to happen, this individual is telling you, oh, but I'm just this and that. Oh, God, I should have known. You do know we talked about this months ago. You do know that I like. So it's difficult, guys. It is not easy. And be cautious to not convince yourself that that person in your life is the only one who's going to accept your bipolar disorder or your depressive disorder or your schizophrenia depressive. Whatever your disability is, don't you dare think for a second that that person's the only person who's going to accept you. Because if they were willing to manipulate you and accept you, right? Try to kind of get in there. Imagine a person that has their shit all put together. Hopefully is mentally happy and healthy, right? But is generally caring and loving and is willing to provide you that safety and security, right? And support system with very minimal triggers. To the point that you're not even struggling to try to minimize those triggers because they're the ones who are aware. Like all of a sudden you go from this chaoticness to this soft little cloud. And it feels as beautiful as it is when you're alone in your peaceful bubble. Remember when you graduate from, so I want my battery to die. So guys, this is the beginning. This is the freaking beginning. This is just the beginning of like everything for me. Relaunching my podcast, starting my Amazon books, the biographies coming up, the secrets are coming out. You know, I think it was Emporium Speakers, but now I think they're called Speakers Forum or Forum Speakers Forum. A young man by the name of Mark Harris came to me and was going to provide me the services that I needed to be this motivational speaker and be in your living room and be in your TV and do these workbooks. And unfortunately, due to circumstances that I will talk on another time, it didn't go through. My anxiety, depression, fear, PTSD was definitely kicking in. And it just didn't go through. And I felt like I let a dream go. But God was like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. Because when I say yes, can no one say no? And when I say no, can no one say yes? When it's time for you to come out, you will come out. I mean, typically, I won't even look like this. I would look makeup because I want, listen, it's not about that. Today was a struggle, but easier day to get out of bed. And I got up with excitement because I got this new laptop. I got this new laptop, you know what I'm saying? And it was a struggle, I had to actually ask somebody to put their income down so I can go ahead and get this laptop because of different circumstances in my life. And instead of taking those negative circumstances, I decided enough is enough. I got to take control. And I'm going to get to a place one day where, hold on. I'm going to get to a place one day where I just have to learn to ask to be able to get to a place where I need to get to. I got those IOUs. And I got that from Eric Thomas. like I've always thought about it, but when I've heard one of his things, I remember him saying, I ask help from everybody. I like to compare myself a little bit to Eric Thomas. I love him because I'm that, you know, that that hood motivator, you know. He's a hip hop motivator. I'm a hood motivator. You know what I'm saying? Like I sound like a particular type of people. I sound like a particular man, a particular woman coming from a certain place. I'm from the streets. Been there, done that. Been homeless since I was 14. Been there, done that. So many things. Autobiography. So many things. And so I want to touch those who don't think they can. I want to touch those who, drug dealers, kids that, are in jail or are about to go, juveniles that are delinquents from school that just need the help and the assistance and the resources to get the life that they deserve, that they were robbed of as a child. That's it. It's giving our community a better opportunity to help our children because they're going to take over this world. We got to break the cycle. Secrets is not okay. We can't allow our kids to think it's okay when someone says keep a secret. Okay? We can't rush into relationships until we know our negative toxic patterns. And we cannot accept relationships from people who are not healed or actively, consistently are in their own healing journey without being pushed, poked, or forced. So I ain't gonna edit any of this crap. I'm not editing it. Blah, blah, blah. I don't even think I want to review it. It's an hour long. I'm not gonna go back. I don't know what bloopers are on here. Here's what it's on here. That's the real reality. I mean, that's just what it is. I want to thank everyone. I really do. I really do. I want to thank you guys for listening to me. I think I'm nuts to submit this on YouTube. But if I don't do it now, when will I do it? I have a dream to be on TED Talk. To be in front of an audience and tell my story. You believe that? Can you imagine that? Just a girl from the Bronx. From the Bronx that came from nothing. Nothing. I mean, just nothing. Knowing what it is to be in a house with no electricity, with no food. Sometimes, cold water sometimes. Candles. And not telling you that it wasn't the best times. My mother definitely knew how to make poverty feel so much fun. So much fun sometimes. Because I didn't know I was poor. I knew I was suffering for other reasons, but I didn't know I was poor. And you go to school, and you see other people with the clothes they have on, and you're different. And you feel differently. Like, everybody doesn't feel or not as sweet and compassionate as you. I just always knew I was different. I was mute for 5 years. What do you expect? I had a lot of time to think to myself, my thoughts. Technically, my life started at 11 years old. That's a different vlog about dissociative disconnection, trauma, and what that does. That's that story about waking up at 11 years old that everybody laughs about. There's so much pain and so much truth behind that. And so much strength behind it. Because I survived it. And if I got through this, and I'm telling my story, I hope you guys subscribe to my channel, join the cause, show love and support, so I could keep on helping people like us. It's time to destigmatize our disabilities. I love you guys. And remember, if it doesn't apply, let it fly. This is Top CBX signing out. And don't forget to follow me on all my platforms, like and share. And don't be afraid to share your story, because that's the only way that you're going to heal. It's the only way. So I love you guys. Thank you. Bye.